Yeah, like some people are like I could probably excel in the fashion industry in the first year but nobody would wear my fashions, but I could design clothes that people would wear. But me, I mean, I'd be wearing plaids, mismatched plaids, always wear sunglasses. If I was famous, I'd never be seen without them. Just because I can't stand. Oh, is that why someone liked my Paris Hilton comment? No, sometimes you get in a psycho space and you don't want people to see your eyes. Or sometimes it's just you're in an egocentric mode and you don't want people looking at your eyes. Yeah, I'll always make eye contact with you when I want to. When I go crazy, let's not hope I get that crazy again, but I'll always be wearing sunglasses at night. Always. When you put the sunglasses on, it's like he said. The other guy said, somebody said that was an awesome statement. I was worried when he put on the sunglasses. Yeah. But I've outgrown that. But I mean, when you're doing shit for TV and shit like that, or you're out and about, I don't like being in crowds. And that's just the way I am. But fashion is another. You can wear a silk shirt, but it's how you wear it. What if you wore a paisley silk shirt and sunglasses? That'd be kind of cool, depending on what color and your skin type. Men's fashion is different. If I had a choice, I don't even have clothes like this at this point, but I'd like to push the limits of just a little bit. Borderline gaudy, borderline loud. You know? But then again, I don't really give a fuck. You know, I'd let somebody else dress me. I don't even... Sometimes I don't even feel like a human being. I should be wearing a loincloth. What's wrong with But what would be wrong with jeans, a t-shirt, and like a shirt on top of it? Maybe that's the only statement. When you look back at Abby Hoffman and shit, I mean, was what, an army jacket and a white t-shirt, political t-shirt, and rock people should, I don't know, fuck the fashion industry. That's a whole nother gig. You got to go against women and shit, and the fashion industry is not even real. It doesn't apply to everyday people. That's why celebrities show up wearing bags of garbage and shit, or they used to. And that's not even much of a statement, but as long as it's comfortable, that's exactly how I feel. I want to be as incognito as possible. I want to... Somewhere between a black suit and just jeans and a t-shirt, somewhere in between the two, so I can look as inconspicuous as possible. I got to get a new leather jacket. I'd probably wear that all the time. It's a horrifying idea. Yeah, I would dress... If I was famous, I would dress exactly as I do, probably then. Ski hats. I come on your show, I'm wearing a fucking ski hat, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, whoa, that's... No, you might think that, but no, I'm not taking my hat off. Why bother? We're not at a funeral or something. It's just more safe, you know? I think baseball hats are acceptable. Shit like that. But I like to wear mine backward. I don't like looking... Just me personally, I look like... When other men do it, they can pull it off. But when I wear a hat forward, it's got to be... I got to cock it to the side because I just look like such a white boy with a hat on with a folded rim. I like the big visor like it's 1980s. And I want to start a hat line that has writing underneath the fucking... Like the old hats you used to get back in the days of metal and grunge and the 80s and 90s. Where, you could have Suicidal Tendencies hat and you flip up the visor and it's like ST for life or something, or it says something, because that's what skateboarders used to do. They used to write with chalk or pens and draw on their hats, and their hats told the story. And I carried that skateboard culture over into high school, and I remember a lot of people didn't think that was cool. The messages I was writing on my hat, I had shit like Kill MC Hammer and all the rest of the fake rappers, and then other black people were getting upset about that. They're like, why you want to kill MC Hammer? It's because he's a poser. At the time, that's the way I felt. He's not legitimate rap. I have to listen to legitimate rap every time I go home and every time I turn on the radio with my sister or son. And I'm here to tell you, that's not hip hop. It's because he's black. It's like, nah, it ain't like that at all. And I was right, of course. I was listening to Public Enemy and shit. And I was looking for kids in my school. We had one or two. I was looking for black militant friends. They were hard to come by. Educated motherfuckers and dudes that were into rap. They were easy to come by. But I mean, they were special people. There was a time when everybody wanted to be a hip hop guy. And I would record them all. It was like I imagine living in the early days of rock and roll was. I was recording literally probably 3 days a week, different, and that's no lie. You can ask my family, and I even got tapes of all that. But like 3 days a week for at least 2 years of just hip hop music. Because back then, nobody knew what a sampler was. Nobody knew what a fucking 4-channel mixer was. Nobody knew what a 4-track was. And they treated you like gold too, because they come to your house and they'll be like, wow. And they listen to you, or you audition what you do, and they're like, holy shit, you could just make beats like that. You could just take a beat and loop it. I'm like, yeah, I put it through my guitar pedal and loop it. And I have to hit it every time it loops, but I can loop it by hand, and it comes off sounding like good urban hip hop. And people be like, damn, I want to come back. And I'll be like, you come back whenever. Just make sure when you do, you got enough rhymes to go over this. And then I'll come back with a beat, and I'll come back with, and it's like, yeah, you know, a lot of the times it'll be like, I'd charge them $100, but half the time, if they were good, just bring some beers and bring a little chiba. And I ain't kidding. There's a lot of people that remember those times. It was a golden era, and hip hop was it could have went anywhere at that point. That whole Southern hip hop shit never creeped into our sound. It was always New York and California, you know, and it took California a long time to catch up. I'm not an expert. They might have had their own underground hip hop shit, but everything in New York was gritty and nasty. And it just sounded dirty. The sound of tape, you know, the sound of the semi-amateurness ish of it, you know. Back then, to complete beats, I would do anything. Like I said, I would lift things. People would bring me beats, and I'd lift them, and then I became a beat expert after lifting everybody else's beat. And I would loop it, and then even at times I'd put in keyboard one-shots. And sometimes I'd play music on it. But we always had sound samples. That was, you know, I miss it. And when I was doing it, I'm like, this is so much better than this fills a part of my soul that rock and roll can't. This abstract music, concrete like that. And just how dirty it gets. We get the Dolby B unencoded, on an encoded tape, coming back with the pitch varying, and just the brown noise of a cassette, and the sound of a master 4-track that makes a bounce and gets distributed, and it makes these it used to make the hip hop guys feel like I felt like little rock stars and shit, that they could run around and play it for their friends. And it was also more addictive because it was easier to do for me than it was to record rock music. Because with rock music, you need all kinds of microphones, and you need all kinds of channels, and you need a really slick machine, and it's just a nightmare. And you need outboard gear and blah, 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 blah. The compressor the first time these kids ever heard compressors, their eyes would light up, just like me. In the studio, in my little studio at home, they'd have these headphones on, and I'd be like, and I would literally run them through a guitar pedal, a limiter, and they'd be like, damn, that sounds good. I'm like, you like that? They'd be like, yeah. And then I'd show them. I'd be like, yell real loud. And they'd yell. And I'd be like, whisper. That mic picks up everything. And it worked. For cassette, you needed a lot of compression. But it was wild. And when computers came out, it was easier, but it wasn't as fun. Nothing sounded good. I used to run the computer or the compressor into the computer from the microphone. Computers have weird latency issues, and the playback always, to me, doesn't sound like how it should have went to tape, so to speak. When you do it into a computer, you're like, yeah, but as you add more tracks, it gets like more latent, and it might be only a 17 millisecond difference or something, or 15, but it's still, and when you listen to it back as a whole, it's like, it just doesn't sound like what it should sound like, because the timing differences. The thing about tape was great. The tape always struck the head at the same time, no matter what track you were on, because it was linear. And as it passes through, there's no delay times. There's track 1, track 2, track 3, all bang, consistently and in place. And then you got to start recording on a computer, and you're realizing this, and you're like, what is going wrong here? This is no longer fun. I've been recording my whole life, and every time I record on the computer, the playback does not sound like it should, sonically, or the timing of it. They should make a program that drags does that time. Fuck the whole latency issue with computers. I don't trust it. And the only way to get absolute latency is to do everything in one shot with one take. That means you have to record the beat, vocals, and everything in one performance and in one take. It's scientifically not. It's not what it should be. They should start making tape machines again. There's no audio files left anyway to do it. The audio files are dying or dead, or their equipment is busted. And yeah, I loved tape. Yeah, me too. I adored it. It was my world. Yep. I always enjoyed. I think they got it backward. I always enjoyed the AD conversion from analog to digital. Like, do everything analog and then convert it digital. That was always cool. Or the hybrid of digital, noisy digital, if you can get it, like those old 8mm ADATs or something, or DA88s, and you mix it with analog at the same time, and you sync it up with MIDI. But then again, that's a Frankenstein concoction you're not going to find anymore. And for what reason? That was something people were doing to gently enter the digital age. But those were dedicated machines, not fucking computers. Look at the waveforms and shit. It's like, I spent my early years studying those waveforms before they were printed out for me. And it gives you a visual, but these guys don't even know what they're looking at. I'm a fucking scientist. Yeah. With compression too, you could start fucking with the waveform, and you could cut off the peaks in a digital way and move it and gauze it and put it in a different polarity. But that's above people's. Nobody's trying to destroy or make like found music or found sounds. Hip hop was great because all these sonic renderings all in one thing.